Kenny's a big boxing fan, and he's been in a defensive stance most of this conversation.
I have
with LaMelo. I feel like there are a lot of people who disagree, and I'm not. I think so if your frustration with LaMelo is his games played, or you're concerned about acquiring LaMelo, 5 years into his career is his games played. I perfectly understand that. Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, finish your point, and we'll talk about LaMelo after.
Well, from a basketball perspective, what is your frustration with LaMelo? Like because people seem to just, again, I talk about the defensive stance, adamantly disagree with the idea of acquiring LaMelo Ball. And this is a 3, 4, 5 point per game scorer. This is a guy who's he's a great passer. He really does have great court vision, but he's been on a losing basketball team. And I don't like when you like some people say, well, he's putting up numbers on a losing basketball team. Okay. So are you telling me that LaMelo's not talented enough to put up good numbers on a good basketball team? Like, I'm not really sure of what the argument of, well, LaMelo's been in Charlotte. Yeah, he's been in Charlotte. The idea is to get him somewhere where he could play around better talent than Charlotte has ever been able to acquire for him. Or is the argument you're looking at Charlotte and you're going, well, they're bad because LaMelo Ball, which that I don't understand either. Right. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure I have a strong stance on this idea. My gut is that I don't like the idea of LaMelo Ball here, at least not for Domantas Sabonis, because I can't look past the amount of games that he's played.
Yeah, you can't do LaMelo for Domas and 4 first-round picks. That's bad business for the Kings. Like, I don't think like LaMelo on the Kings is a bad idea, but you do that a different way.
For me, LaMelo
other than Domas, you don't trade Domas.
That's
for
it.
him.
To me, LaMelo with Domas makes a lot more sense for the success of this basketball team. Now, Charlotte's trying to build theirs, but Trista might be onto something with, or actually, I'm sorry, you are onto something with reset your salary cap. Reset where that is and kind of build your team around all of these young guys that you have.
And Domas with LaMelo, that'd be dope too. I just don't.
The crux of all of this is you're out on Domantas Sabonis,
and I don't. It's so out on Domantas Sabonis is. We should tell the whole story. Like I said yesterday, the player and what he brings to the table, I have no problem with. I think he's still a top flight player. I'd love to have him on the team, but I don't know how you get better with him making the most money. Like, I don't know where you get that player that is equal or better than him while he's making the most money. Him and Zach LaVine, I should say, because I don't know if both of them can be moved. One or both of them can be moved. So my thought process is you're going to have to make some decisions that maybe aren't popular, maybe, isn't exactly what you want to do. Like, I don't think you want to move on from Domantas Sabonis, but to become a better team, to get higher end talent in here, he may be your best asset. And that's where I come from with it. And with LaMelo, like, the people in the chat and that disagree, like, I'm sure I'll tell you right now, I will bow down to you guys. I will tell you right now, if OKC offered SGA for Sabonis, a more proven guy that's on a winning team, you're right. I'd take him in a heartbeat. I'd make that deal in a heartbeat. Yes. If OKC offered SGA, let's do it. I live in the real world, though. If you're going to make a trade,
well, some would say that Domas 3 picks trade isn't the real world.
Well,
Kenny's an aggressive general manager.
To be honest, so to be honest with you, unlike not you or others, but do the homework. Once again, I go to the streets. I go to the streets of Charlotte. The streets of Charlotte are telling me, and Matt George on Locked On, to start a conversation. We're talking 3 first rounders, whether it's a combination of swaps or first round picks.
It's not a serious
conversation. Now to that point, hold on now. To that point, he also said there's going to have to be a meet in the middle.
He being Matt or he being the Charlotte guy?
I forgot the guy's
name. The Charlotte guy. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, he said even with that, there's going to have to be a meet in the middle to get the deal done. Charlotte may be saying, hey, we're going 3 first-round picks. But whoever's trying to trade for him has been like, look, I know what you think of LaMelo, and you think he's a cornerstone and all this other stuff, and you may be right, but number one, he hasn't won. Number two, he has been injury-prone his whole career. So 3 first-round picks is a little much. You're gonna have to meet me somewhere. Talking about the other team to Charlotte. So that's where negotiations come into play and all this other stuff. But for argument's sake, I was just going off what he said. 3 first-round picks. That's how we're going to start talking, and that's what it is. Now, you're not Sabonis, Darius Garland. Like, yeah, he's a pick, but people say he don't play defense. Trae Young, who I like, yeah, I like it. He's a small guard who doesn't play defense. Drew Holiday, you guys want defense and all this other stuff. Y'all said he was too old. So you guys have to, we're trying to figure this whole thing out. Be real with yourself. Shout out TC. And find a realistic. I'm of the belief you're going to have to take a chance with somebody that you get, whether that's LaMelo, Trae, get Ja, because he's not going to be available. But even if he was, there's a gamble there. He's another guy that's been injury prone. You're going to have to take a gamble. I don't see a path where you're getting this sure thing, this SGA, this Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson for Sabonis or anybody. You're going to have to take a chance on a guy that, number one, you think is good enough to trade. And when I trade Domantas Sabonis, I'm looking for a guy that is going to be the best player on my team potentially. That's what I'm looking for when I get Sabonis, because I'm not trying to.
So in your argument, Domas isn't going to get you that, but the picks are.
Yes.
Or meaning
Domas by himself
isn't. Yeah.
Yes. But if you want a guy that's on that level potentially, you have to sweeten the deal.
I'd do it for Trae, and I would take Trae and Garland over LaMelo. Look, LaMelo's not someone you build your franchise around right now at this point. Like, you don't give him the keys at all. He's only played more than 51 games once in his career. Like, you can't hand him the keys. That's like at all. Like, that just doesn't work. If you want to bring LaMelo in, it's like, all right, cool. You're here with DeMar and Domas or Zach and Domas or whoever. Like, I think that makes it a little bit better. Like, I can buy into that, but I don't think you give up Domas for LaMelo and then like you're only getting 50 or so games unless you get another outlier year for him. Like, he's tall and all that, but I'd rather take Trae and Garland at this point.
So how different are Trae and LaMelo at the point guard position? Trae averages more assists. Is he a better passer?
I think Trae's a better player, yeah.
He's a better player overall than LaMelo.
Trae, people talk about LaMelo being stuck on the Hornets and needs to be freed and like so he can win. Like, I think that's what Trae Young is actually on the Hawks.
Trae, I would say Trae is. I mean, he's played more. He's had more moments, so I would say he's a better player. But when I bring up Luka's defense, the first thing that people point to is Trae Young's defense. Like, he's that bad of a defender.
Yeah.
He's a small guy, so now you got to make up for that with the roster that you put around him and the defenders that you put around him. I think that's a problem. That's a concern for me. I think he's just as talented as a player as LaMelo or any other point guard in this league. Like, I think that highly of Trae Young, but he brings his red flags as well.
I'll take that over whatever, like 50 or less games from LaMelo though. Like you're the Sacramento Kings. You got to get this one right, and to put it all on a guy who barely plays, like LaMelo Ball at this point, like he's all potential. He's all like if he figures it out, he's all ifs at this point. Trae, at least we've seen something. Garland too. Like, LaMelo's a great basketball player, but it's all just potential.
So let me ask you this.
I don't think the Kings can take that risk.
Let me ask you a question. You want all these picks back. Ain't you doing that the same thing with the NBA draft? It's all potential, right?
Yeah, but I know LaMelo's probably not going to play many games. Like, I already know that. I already know that about LaMelo.
Price tag's different too.
That's true.
When a player doesn't play over his career, when a player doesn't play however many games, like that's Joel Embiid is never going to be healthy. He never was healthy. That's who they are.
I think that's unfair to put LaMelo in the Joel Embiid category.
Give me 2 more seasons and he's there.
But we're talking about today. Like
I don't know that.
It's not.
Probably
He's already
not that unfair.
He's not. He can't even play 65 games.
LaMelo
he played over 71.
LaMelo just doesn't have the total missed seasons that Joe had. I'll pull up Joe's games played. But LaMelo's is pretty jar. I mean, it's 51, and that
he'd only be eligible for All NBA awards once in his career.
The 51 was in a 72, because that's the 2021 season. That was a 72 game season, if I remember correctly. God, it's just going to be murder on the history books. Like, people are going to have to look back at that and not have any clue that 72 games were played that year. He played 75 the following year.
Yeah, it's the outlier year.
36.
Well, wait, we've got 2 games now, or 2 years.
Well, yes. 36, 22, and 47. That's tough. The difference with him and Joe, I mean, obviously, Joel's played longer, but he has like DNP seasons.
Poor guy.
I mean, he didn't play the first 2 years of his career. Then he played 31, 63, 64, 51, 51, 68, 66, 39, 19. Make the argument Joel played more.
They played 72.
What those numbers look like moving forward, that's anybody's guess.
And the reason why I say it's unfair is Joel Embiid is 30. Is he 30 years old?
Yeah.
30 years old. Like, he's not getting healthier.
How is LaMelo going to – how does anyone ever get healthier? Like, when you've been permanently injured.
Can you name LaMelo's injuries off the top of your head?
He broke his ankle.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, he broke his ankle, and I think
came back the same season. I think
he had surgeries on his.
He was out for the whole season when it happened, and then I don't think there was a knee.
It's the only one I remember.
I think it's the ankle. The ankle's the issue, and I think he's getting surgery or some type of procedure this offseason on it.
Yeah, he's had surgery on his ankle and his wrist.
Now the draft picks just went down to 0. I'm taking a player who just got surgery. 0 draft picks.
That first 2, like LaMelo missed 21 games because they played 72 or whatever, right? Or however many.
His first season, yes.
Yeah, so they played 72. Like, if it's an 82 game season, he misses 21. That's only 61. Like, that's still not good enough. Like, he's not on the court.
Okay. We'll see. I mean, I can't defend. Like, I can't say no, you're wrong. He's not healthy. I'm just telling. We'll see. We'll see what happens with LaMelo. We'll see what happens. If you don't want to take a risk on him because he hasn't been healthy, it's completely understandable.
I just don't think too. Like the Kings can't take that risk. I don't think another team can maybe whatever, but you're the Kings. Like, you have one shot if you're still trying to win. Like, going for LaMelo is all the risk in the world, I feel.
Let's approach this from a different standpoint. I'm going to sit over here like a therapist. Why did you land at this conclusion yesterday?
About Domas or LaMelo?
I was asking about I was asking about Domas. Let's table LaMelo for a second.
Okay.
How did you land on this conclusion about trading Domantas Sabonis? About it being time for the Sacramento Kings to entertain trades for Domantas Sabonis?
Because I feel if he is your best player, you have no shot at really like going to a top level.
And a top level is what? Conference finals?
Definitely conference finals. I don't even know if he's your best player, you can win a round in the playoffs.
Okay.
People tried to argue.
I mean, they almost. Well, I guess De'Aaron was here and he was the team's best player. So.
That's what I thought. But people tried to argue that Domas was the best player, and even in that situation, you were first round and you were 40. You didn't win 50 games.
Well, I think De'Aaron was,
but
it was probably really.
But remember,
close.
we'd have those discussions, and people were like,
"Yeah."
I think
but I also think it was a fair discussion.
Domas does everything great, but the most important thing in the league to do. Like, he's elite at everything but scoring, and like that's where you can rebound and all that. But if you take away like what Jokic does scoring, like you're gonna take him down a few tiers.
I don't agree with that. I do think okay. just remember, this is about jumping Kenny and not me.
I'm with Kenny. I've been saying trade Domas for months.
But I still, that's fine. I still think Domas can be an elite scorer. He just chooses not to be.
So he won't be, though.
Yeah, he won't.
He won't ever be. He won't. We've been talking about for years. He's not. He's not that guy.
Like that's not what. And
what's an elite number, by the way? Is it 25 plus?
I don't know if he could be an elite.
Is 25 plus elite? Is that the number for elite, or is it 27?
We'll put it there.
25.
Well, elite 27, yeah, but 25.
25, you're one of the better ones in the league. Yeah,
he doesn't shoot the ball well enough, and he doesn't.
He does shoot the ball well enough. He doesn't shoot it enough.
Yeah, and I think
this is my original argument. He does not shoot the ball enough.
It will go down. And when I mean shoot, I mean literally shoot, not
okay
around the bat. Like he doesn't shoot the 3-ball well enough. He doesn't shoot the jump shot well enough. He doesn't have any real go-to move. I would be.
So that's an interesting
25, 27 points a night.
That's an interesting thing. He doesn't have a go-to move. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But he averages 19 points per game on 13 shots. His career average is 16 on 11. But as a King, 19 points on essentially 12 shots, 19.4 points on 13 shots, 19.1 points on essentially 13 shots.
And
13 shots. That's, to me, that's the bigger issue, is the 13. You go back to that Dallas game, though, and this is the part that because I'm looking at Domas as a player. This is the part that I know can't be fixed. This is the part that I don't think can be fixed. I get very frustrated with Domas's huffing and puffing about what everybody else is doing. You and I stood next to each other at the Golden One Center and watched that game against the Dallas Mavericks die. 4 straight possessions to Domantas Sabonis. 2 of them ended in turnovers. One of them, actually 3 of them ended. The other one was like a shot clock violation. The fourth one, I don't even remember what. I think he just took like a bad shot, and the Mavericks scored on all 4 of those possessions. Domas's hands were in the air. He was mad at someone. Someone wasn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I just kept looking at it like this game the whole game just died.
Died.
And the Kings never looked. They went from the rookie pumping up the crowd to Domas throwing the game away to the Golden One Center being dead for the next hour and a half.
And
that's the part that I don't know can be fixed. He has no killer instinct.
Well, he doesn't have the offense.
I don't even know if he has an attack instinct.
He doesn't have the offensive capability to lead a team. And Sacktown Tony in the chat, who is very upset with the thought of LaMelo Ball and all this other stuff, that he's not listening to what people are saying. He's saying they're asking if you can win with Domas and talking about scoring. We literally have one of the best offenses of all time with Domas as a key cog. Nobody's saying, can you win with Domas? Because you can. I believe that. The question and the topic at hand is, if he's your best player, if he's your go-to player, your go-to option offensively, can you win at a high level? Not just win 48 games, but everybody always talking about playoffs aren't enough and being able to win and all this other stuff. Well, let's talk about it. Can we win 55 games with Domas Sabonis as your best player? I don't believe you can. I don't know if there's anybody that believes that you can if he's your best player. If you have 1 or maybe even 2 players that are better than him on the roster, you can the sky's the limit, I think, with a guy like Domantas Sabonis. He's not by any means a bad player or anything, once again, anything less than what we've said he's been for the last 2 or 3 years. But now his role will change, where he's not the complimentary or a second or third guy. He's the guy. And if that's the case, you're in a bad way.
We saw it yesterday, I think. He needs to be Kevin Love with Kyrie and LeBron. He doesn't need to be a top 2 guy.
I think, and I agree with Jesse on that too. You can convince me in certain situations, if he's your second best player, that you might be able to win. You can convince me of that. I also realize that might be pushing it. I think the best case for him is if he's like your third best player, or that second player is like Like we're like, I don't know who the second best player is. Like if he's there, that's pushing it. Like ideally he'd be your third best player. And then so now we're getting into the conversation where you asked where to come to this conclusion. They're like, wow, $49 million for your third best player. Now we're no disrespect. I think he's a better player than this guy, but now we're in Rudy Gobert territory. Like I'm
Rudy
paying you
Gobert,
how much to be
Rudy Gobert makes less.
Cap's going up.
I was like, Rudy Gobert.
Cap's going up though.
Rudy Gobert actually makes a lot less.
And
I think it was $35 million a year, if I remember correctly.
And that's where I came to this. Like, I'm paying you how much? This is where it became the business of basketball, as James Ham would say. It's not about the player. It's about how I'm allocating these funds for the salary cap and what your contract hampers me from being able to do to improve this roster.
If the deal is that bad, let's say his trade value is that tough or whatever, and Zach LaVine is stuck here the next 2 years, like we say, and you're going to trade DeMar, how are you supposed to build whatever a winner looks like here?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's
like,
if that's the plan,
you have to. Yeah, I mean, I think and so that I'm glad you phrased it that way, because it goes back to the Charlotte thing. It goes back to LaMelo a little bit, is the different positions the two teams are in.
Mm.
You mentioned Charlotte, like use this opportunity because of your draft placement. Kings have never, Kings don't have that, right? They certainly don't have it this year, or maybe we'd be having a different conversation. But they have the ability, it's a big if they draft right, to look, you're not going anywhere and you're getting there very quickly. Reset things a little bit. Sacramento is not in the position of resetting anything. They're because of the Zach LaVine contract situation, and perhaps maybe this is the true point of your conversation we haven't spent enough on. Maybe because of the Domantas Sabonis contract situation, you're going to have to figure out a way to build something here with pillar pieces of what you have. Those pillars can't be knocked down right now. Those things are sturdy. They're not going anywhere. Zach LaVine is one of those. I have a good feeling Domantas Sabonis is one of those. And not maybe necessarily by choice, but out of circumstance. You have to figure out a way to put whatever it is that Domas needs around him. You're going to have to leverage DeMar DeRozan for everything that you have. And if you're making a true splash in the trade market, and I don't know that this is even real anymore, to be perfectly honest with you, it's probably moving Keegan Murray. And I don't have a clue what that looks like, by the way. And I'm not proposing a Keegan Murray trade. The point in that statement was I don't think it's trading Domantas Sabonis, because I don't think you can. There's one scenario that could work potentially for everybody involved, depending on how you feel about it. But I don't think it'll work for this fan base, and I can't imagine Sacramento actually doing it unless Vivek wanted to help his buddy out, and that's Domas to Golden State. And that probably involves Jonathan Kuminga. You make the money match, and that's the ultimate get out of jail free card that the Golden State Warriors have, is a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga. You can literally make anything work, or just about anything work, by signing and trading, by agreeing to a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga.
Right.
Now, again, I don't think the Kings fan base would be thrilled with that. I think he fits the way Golden State plays, he being Domantas Sabonis. But I can't imagine, no matter how good of friends they are, Vivek putting Joe Lacob in a position to put for the Kings owner to put the Warriors in a position to go win a title.
Right. Unless you think you're selling him a lemon.
Which I don't think he does.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think he does. Yeah. Pod's got to come back too. Still need a point guard.
Oh man.
I tell you what, this Paz regime really messed things up these last 5 years, huh?
No, they did.
Well,
damn it, this is disgusting.